Warning, we are not trained professionals. Do not take any advice that we give as official doctoral prescribed medical treatment. Lucy Deakins is our queen, lord, and savior. Side effects may include loving Lucy Deakins, not to be confused with I Love Lucy, going down many rabbit holes, not to be confused with Alice in Wonderland, which is an excellent Disney film if you haven't seen it, and appreciating cinema as used as a therapeutic device, not to be confused with drugs, antidepressants, or any other form of enhancements that you may find in legal states. Please enjoy responsibly, just like Bud Light, which is actually pretty gross if you've ever tried it. I'm not a beer fellow per se, but Maddie loves beer and she's an outstanding individual, so trust her judgment, but don't discredit mine. Bud Light's gross. Additional disclaimer. If the film says f***, we can say it too. So check the film rating and that will be our podcast rating. Hello, welcome to Film Therapy. I am Jake. I am one of the I don't have a psychology degree, but I am one of the film therapists you are listening to. And with me, as always, is my illustrious co-host, Madison.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, I had to make sure illustrious was what I thought it meant. It means well-known, respected, and admired for past achievements.
Oh, great.
So
I love that
was
word.
good to... Yeah, you are illustrious. I wasn't kidding. Anyway, we just got done watching Lost in Translation, and this is what I would describe as a truly, therapeutic movie. It's definitely... this is the kind of movie with this is the reason why we wanted to do this podcast, was for movies like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess as far as, it's a little bit harder to do a full synopsis because it's not like Friday the 13th where it's just kill, 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 kill. It's
Right.
It's just more of a free-flowing slice of life kind of movie.
Yeah.
And really, those are my favorite kinds of movies, honestly.
Yeah. They're becoming a second favorite of mine.
What's your first? Horror?
My first favorite is movies that contain some sort of magic to them, like otherworldly or out of this world kind of extraordinary elements, like Eternal Sunshine, or Lady in the Water, or Harry Potter.
Well then we've got to watch Supergirl because one, it's an underrated gem that I love very much, and two, there's otherworldly magic in it.
Great.
That's the theme. So we got to watch that soon.
All right.
And also because I want more people to be fans of it, not just me.
Okay.
So, but it's kind of like Lady in the Water in a way, for how that movie, how you feel about that movie. That's kind of how I feel about Supergirl, where it's one of those movies I saw when I was younger, and it had a huge impact on me, even though it's not the greatest movie ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Dare I even say it's not objectively that great, but I love it. I think it's actually pretty good. But anyway, yeah, Lost in Translation really just kind of goes into a subset of movies that I think that just feel so realistic, and I can't think of really many words to describe it. The basic synopsis of this movie, without going into too much, we will be spoiling, so spoilers, obviously, as we do every time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about this older actor. His name is Bob Harris, and he's played by Bill Murray, and he's going to Tokyo to shoot some commercials for Suntory whiskey. And at the same time, there's a younger woman there, and her name is Charlotte. I don't know if we find out her last name, but Charlotte's there. She's played by Scarlett Johansson, and her husband is doing I think it's some kind of photography work.
Mm-hmm.
And I should know, I just watched the movie, but whatever. and then the two of them, and Bob and Charlotte, end up talking one night at the bar because neither of them can sleep because, you're in Tokyo, and going from the U.S. to Tokyo, your sleep patterns are going to change and not align because the time zones are different. But also it's just more of an isolation thing. But they end up talking, and they find that they have a surprisingly very strong connection, and they end up just spending most of their time there together in Tokyo. And it's just this very kind of slice of, I know I said this before, it's a very slice of lifey kind of just a week of them being in Tokyo, and it's so beautiful and well done, and it's amazing.
Absolutely. It's so fun to just watch it unfold. That's what I like about these types of movies. You don't have to think about it. You just sit there and watch and feel.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The first thing I want to talk about is I think this is one of the best movie titles ever. There's so many different layers to the title. Because, Lost in Translation, the obvious one, it's the language difference.
Uh-huh.
It's the location difference. It's the difference between Charlotte and her husband and Bob and his wife, and the kind of spatial distance between both sets of couples. But there's also smaller things, there's the different directors in the photo shoots that Bob goes to. The first one is saying all these like long-winded, passionate speeches, and then the translator just says, "Oh, just turn your head to the left or turn your head to the right," and then the second one is saying like he's like saying like 007 Roger Moore, and then Bob's like, "Well, I always thought of Sean Connery," and just which is like such a Bill Murray thing to say. I wonder if that was improvised, but I'm sure a lot of this movie was. Just even those little nuances like that just really make it, I think, one of my favorite movie titles ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hate when movies just have a title of the main character's first name or something like that. It's so uncreative to me. I'm like, really? Please think of something better, something to do with the theme, which is exactly what this movie does. And it sets the tone for the whole thing just by looking at the cover and the title.
Yes.
It's not just like Bob Harris goes to Tokyo or Jason takes Manhattan.
Well, let's be real. Let's be real. The best movie title of all time is Too Fast, Too Furious.
Too fast. Too furious.
Yeah, classic. Great movie. Um anyway, is there like what's something you want to talk about? We'll go back and forth.
Okay. Well, on topic of theme, the opening image is of Scarlett Johansson laying on her side, and she's wearing these panties, and you can kind of see through them. It's just a big shot of her butt, and throughout the movie, you see her in this costume, and to me, I don't know if this opening image really sets the whole tone of the movie, but I mean, I'm not complaining about it. uh, but I don't know. It's just kind of, I mean, it draws you in for sure, obviously, because it's like this perfect butt and perfect little peach emoji butt. And then.
Oh my god. I mean, you're not wrong. But...
And then I don't know though. The rest of the movie's more introspective and thought provoking and calm, and it's not sexual at all. So I wonder what the choice was behind this first image, other than like to draw you in. I'm not sure.
I don't know exactly what, but I think it was inspired by some painting
Hmm.
that Sofia Coppola saw. But as far as how that connects to it, I'm not sure because I'd have to look up like what the painting was and all that.
Okay.
But I think I read that somewhere that that's why
Oh.
it was. Yeah, just speaking of Scarlett Johansson's character Charlotte in this movie, much like how you felt instantly with Julie Delpy as Celine in Before Sunrise, the first time I saw this movie, just right away, I just fell in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, she's absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just has this like long hair, and then just the way her eyes like just light up every now and then, and just like just the little things. But then also just from a character standpoint, like how she's at this, and I really relate to this. She's just at this turning point in her life where she just got out of college and she doesn't know like what direction she wants to take. She's tried like different things a little bit here and there, but nothing's really clicked with her. And and especially this time watching it, because I'm really close to just getting out of college, I just sat there just thinking, like, man, I really, really feel this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it pains me to like watch her think that she's becoming something by being someone's wife, but still is searching for something to do on her own, and she's knitting, she's taking pictures, she's writing or whatever, but she doesn't really feel connected to any of it. She's just kind of doing it. For me, like I feel like travel is what I'm really passionate about, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's like she was meant to be there. She was meant to find Bill Murray's character and travel, and maybe that sparks a new interest in her as traveling. Maybe. I like to
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that's. There's just like those small moments in this movie. Like, there's the scene when she's like, it's that one really wide shot, and you just see her like walking, like, I think it's like a temple or a monastery or
Mm-hmm.
something behind her, and she's just like walking across. Or the scene when she's like in that arcade and like watching everybody play the games, and that dude doing like the electric Guitar Hero type game.
Yeah.
There's just those little moments where you just follow her, like, just moving through the space and just kind of observing, and I could just watch those all day. It's just the most laid back, introspective, reflective, beautiful thing.
Yeah. I would love a whole film of just like someone walking through a place.
it's just so, it speaks so many volumes. And the fact that she's just so like incredibly beautiful, that helps too. But the city itself is also just so, like, I want to go there. I really want to go there.
Me too.
What the hell are we doing recording a podcast for? Let's just go to Tokyo.
Well, nobody wants us anywhere right now. Can't say I blame them, but
All right, then fuck it. Here's what we'll do. We'll get enough plutonium to generate the necessary 1.21 gigawatts to generate the flux capacitor, and then we'll go back a few years, and then we'll go to Tokyo.
we will
We'll go back to
prevent
2003.
COVID-19.
No. Why would we do that? We're gonna go back to 2000. We're gonna go back to whatever year you want to go back to, and then we'll just go to Tokyo then.
How about like 2019?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and speaking of those kind of moments, Fire Walk with Me has some of those moments too, but that's a whole other topic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, also the shots where Charlotte's just like sitting in the windowsill even are just really tranquil, and it just strongly like evokes that, like, those feelings of just like, you're just kind of sitting around, you don't really know what to do, you're just kind of like waiting for something to happen. But then there's also that side of you that's just enjoying like the peaceful serenity of just being by yourself.
Yeah.
It's like that weird like interconnected mix, and I really love that.
It's kind of like, well, I feel like you really step inside her mind in those moments, because you're like, well, for me, it was kind of hard to watch because I'm like, you just need to go outside and experience Tokyo and go sightseeing, go have fun, like just do whatever. And instead you're sitting in your hotel room just like flailing about. But also it makes sense because she doesn't know what to do with herself. She doesn't even really, I feel like she doesn't really even know what she likes to do. And maybe is nervous about going out without anyone else, but then she finds the courage later on, which is really great.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, then there's those moments where she's just like trying to do small things, like she's like changing her hair, like putting it up,
Yeah.
or just like hanging the little, I don't know if they're cherry blossoms, but they look like cherry blossoms, like the little like thing she tries to hang up before she like stubs her foot.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's just those little things that you do when you're by yourself, just to kind of make yourself feel better, even if they don't really work for very long. Like they're just like little things you do to take your mind off of things, even for just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like we really see inside her mind in this movie. And she's so young. Yeah, I don't know how old Bill Murray is, but to me he always looks old.
Even in the 80s.
Well,
there's something you don't see every day. Let's see. Bill Murray he's going to be 70 next month.
Oh my gosh. Happy birthday, Bill Murray.
So when they made the movie, when it came out, at least, he was, 67. He was 53 when it came out.
Wow.
So if they filmed it around then, he was like, yeah, we never find out Charlotte's last name.
Yeah.
Or John's.
Yeah.
But, yes. Anyway, the score in this movie is really good, too. It really helps sell those, like, little moments.
Yeah, for sure. So tranquil, like you said. It's a good word for this movie.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad you agree. Is there anything you want to add about it?
Just we can jump into their relationship, I guess. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy to watch this and think along with it as they start to evolve into their relationship. It first starts as just a casual conversation, and it picks up some like flirty vibes here and there, but then also it's more like a really deep connection. Like, it's not really romantic or sexual. It's more of just like a soul connection, I want to say. Like, have you ever felt that? Like, someone like you're not like attracted to, but you're like connected, and even though they are 40 something 30 something years apart, like they are still having this crazy connection because they're both lost in their marriages, and he's been married 25 years, she's only been married 2, but still they're having the same type of feelings. And it kind of changes back and forth between like a mentor and pupil relationship, or like a father-daughter relationship, or like then to like lover relationship, so it's just it's nice to see something like that where it's not just like, oh, Bill Murray's attracted to this gorgeous Scarlett Johansson because of course, why wouldn't you be? And he's gonna cheat on his wife, which he does end up like doing something with that redheaded singer girl, which was really unexpected. I forgot that happened, actually.
Yeah.
Do you think they actually slept together?
You mean Bob and Charlotte, or?
Bob and that singer girl.
Yeah, I think so because isn't that what they're implying? Because
I feel
like
like, yeah.
he wakes up in the morning and she's there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I took it as anyway.
Yeah.
And then
Probably.
Charlotte gets kind of like angry about it because
Yeah.
she's like, like they have this special connection, and then like she doesn't. And I noticed that watching it this time is that that's like the only day he doesn't. I think that he doesn't see her at all.
Hmm.
So then, like the next morning when he sees her, like she's like, "Hey, I've been gone for a day," and then he's like, "Oh, well, this is what I did."
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie is the karaoke scene. It's so fun, and it's also like kind of emotional at the same time.
Hmm.
I forget what Charlotte says his real name is, but like the character of Charlie Brown, like her friend that they go
Hmm.
and meet, like when he's like singing, that's just so awesome.
I know. I don't know if I could get behind the whole karaoke culture if I went to Tokyo. I mean, I'm sure I would a little bit, but I guess maybe there people understand, like, because everyone does karaoke, so it's fine if you don't sing well.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Anna Faris is doing her karaoke scene later in the hotel bar. She seems like she's a wreck in like every movie.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Whatever her character was. Like not whoever her character was in the movie. Do you remember what her name was?
um, Kelly?
Yeah, Kelly. She drives me crazy. I cannot stand her as a character. That character in this movie, and I think it's absolutely intentional
Hmm.
because there's the parallel, obviously with her and John versus John and Charlotte,
Yeah.
and how John almost connects to her more than his wife. But every scene she's in, especially the first time I saw it, like I'm just sitting there looking at whatever is sorry, I lost my thought. She just really drives me crazy. Like they portray her as just like she's not very intelligent. She's just very surfacey. She doesn't have a lot of deep thoughts really, and she's just kind of like, just kind of. I can't think of the word. But then there's like those moments when it's like she's clearly trying to get with Charlotte's husband,
Yeah.
which I mean, yeah.
Yeah, which always makes you feel awkward in scenes like those because obviously you're in Charlotte's shoes and you're
Hmm.
like, oh gosh, what if my significant other, he's like successful doing this thing he knows he loves, and this person comes up to him, this, I think she's a celebrity, and says that he's the best ever, and she's like super hot and like flirtatious, touchy, blah blah blah, and you're just kind of standing there in your sweater vest, like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just go drink.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're married to Charlotte, then you are. It's any Scarlett Johansson character, but especially her in this movie, you're pretty lucky. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
real. But I think the perfect example of those two, of the differences between the two, is when she's like I use this Evelyn name as my pseudonym, and then Charlotte's like that's a man's name, like that was a man, and I'm like I love that so much because it really just shows the obviously it just shows the differences between the two of them, and like that, like that's like an obvious thing, of course, but like that's just something that I really picked up on watching it this time,
Yeah.
like every time, but like it's fresh in my mind right now.
Hmm.
One of the like sweetest moments of the movie is when, like, I think it's after they do the karaoke. It's like they're in the cab and he's falling asleep, and
Hmm.
then when they get to the hotel, she's asleep, and he just like Bill Murray just carries her to her room. Like
Yeah.
that's just like the most adorable thing.
He puts her back in her room, tucks her in,
Mm-hmm.
then goes back to his room. It's so nice. I wish she had pink hair the whole time, though. Although that doesn't really fit her character.
I don't know. I'm gonna say the opposite. I definitely prefer her normal hair, but like
Ah.
like both are great, but like just having like that. Would you say it's more brownish or reddish or kind of somewhere in
I
the
would
middle?
say, yeah, it's just like the most basic brown color.
And I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh.
I do though. Like seriously, like that's what I meant before when I said I just like fell in love with her right away because she's absolutely beautiful, but she also has this just her whole character and like the journey she goes through. I just really relate to it,
Yeah.
and I do every time I watch this.
It's so sad to think she's only been married 2 years and is already fed up with being married.
Yeah,
It sucks. I'm sure a lot of people go through that.
yeah. I wonder if I don't think I would, but it makes me wonder like if I'd ever went through that, like how I would handle it,
Yeah, I'd probably go to Tokyo too.
But yeah, so I have a few movies that I think, and some of the and we've talked about a couple of these, so you know which ones I'm going to say, and there's a few that we haven't done episodes on that I feel like I'd like to do episodes on in the future. I kind of view this like big subset of movies as like not like my top 10 move favorites per se, but like movies that I like resonate with really strongly and could watch like any day if I wanted to, like any time of day, however I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just movies that kind of all fit the same subgenre, even though they're kind of different. So I would say all three, but especially the first two, Before Sunrise, Before Sunset,
Yes.
Garden State,
Yes.
Eternal Sunshine,
Yes.
Call Me by Your Name,
Yes.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes.
I'd say Perks of Being a Wallflower, even though that's more of
Mm-hmm.
a high school movie.
Yeah.
I would say When Marnie Was There.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think if I had any more, but I can't think of any. But there's just those movies where I just feel this like emotional, like gut punch out of them, but like in the best kind of way.
Yeah.
Like they all give me the same kind of emotion where when it's ending, I'm just like, wow, I just feel so. I just went through an experience, and it just feels so powerful.
Therapeutic, even.
Yes. Yeah, there's a few others too, but like those are the ones that like movies that I feel. Oh, there's another movie called Up in the Air, which is really really good.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know if you've seen it. It's George Clooney and Anna Kendrick.
Okay.
And that's a movie where I kind of feel the same thing.
I didn't know it was that kind of movie.
Yeah. That might be one we talk about because that's a movie I really like.
Okay.
But anyway, I didn't know if there's any you wanted to add to that little
honestly
list of...
you said them all. I was thinking Garden State and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but that was a good list that you made.
Thank you. There's two different scenes I want to talk about and how they kind of I feel they're both connected in a way. There's the first scene, like there's not the first scene, but like a scene 2 days before or something where he's gonna leave, and then they're like in his room talking, and then they fall asleep, and then they're like on separate sides of the bed in a way, like the way it's framed. There's like a little bit of space between them, and he's just like touching her foot and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like this sweet like you said, it's not like romantic or platonic. It's like it almost goes beyond it, and it's like a soul connection, like you said.
Yeah.
And that moment really just makes it like that's a visual representation of it. They're not, in a sexual relationship. They're not in a platonic relationship. They're kind of like, if you can be higher than both of those, it's like it's that highest level. And then later on, there's the final night when they're like in the elevator. Then they say goodnight once or twice, and then she leaves, and then as she's leaving, it like cuts. And then the next morning, like he calls her and says like, "Hey, you still have my jacket, so I guess you stole it." Because like the first time I saw it, I didn't even catch this, and then later times when I watched it, I'm like, does that imply that they were together? Like, did they sleep together that night, or does it mean something different? Or and I wanted to know what you thought about that. Did you pick up on that?
I would like I assumed that she had his jacket. I don't know. I didn't catch when she took his jacket, actually.
Yeah.
But I hope that they didn't, just because it makes the relationship more special to me that they didn't, because
yes.
they had a different type of connection. It's not traditional, it's not sexual. They were just alone together. That's all I wanted it to be, really. I hope they didn't go farther than that last kiss at the end, and which I don't think they did, because it seemed like they were hesitant about that kiss at the end, And
yeah,
if they had slept together, I feel like they would have been more just like, or they would have done something more in the elevator,
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I completely agree with that 100%. Yeah, and like you said, like that, like the kiss at the end is just restrained, and it's like this little, it's just this like little last special moment, and I love the fact that like that he like whispers whatever it is to her, and like it's just between them, and it's such a like a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I was wondering if I had missed that, or it was supposed to just be something between them, because it didn't give me a subtitle for it, so I wasn't sure what they said, which is really special.
Yeah, me too. I think there's like something online where they're like, oh, we're gonna decipher what they say, and it's but it's like for me, it's like it's just that little, it's between the two of them, and I think that's why there's no subtitle for it.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, I only have a couple other things, I guess. I just love the scenes of her just walking just in Japan, just because they're just so beautifully shot. Just the way like it's framed and everything, and how you, like you said, you just get inside her head and you're just in it the whole movie. It's just so beautiful.
It's effortless too. Yeah. Yes, feeling alone, surrounded by people. Absolutely, I agree. Especially in foreign countries, because there is like that barrier, language barrier, and cultural barrier, really, that you just don't feel like you don't feel comfortable at first, and you always feel like you stick out, and you don't really know how to act and everything. So obviously you're gonna feel very alone, and so that I think it really makes it special when you find someone from the country you're from in a different country, or if you're traveling with people from your own country in a different country, you can really like connect and bond like really strongly while you're there. I did a couple study abroads when I was in my undergrad at
Yeah.
the University of Wyoming. We went to England and Italy and Argentina, and I feel like I have like a really special bond with the people I traveled with. And then when my family went overseas for just a vacation, my brother and I met these people in a hostel who were from the United States and even went to the same school as my brother. So that really created like a special bond, and we just hung out the whole night, and it was really special. And even though you're in a different country, to experience different culture and different languages, different food and everything, it's just kind of a breath of fresh air to find those people that you can connect with and like feel a sense of home, even though you have no idea who they are. It just brings a sense of comfort
Yeah.
when you're so far away from home. So I think like that really helped bond Charlotte and Bob in these times. And it's interesting because Bob is a celebrity, even though he's an older celebrity. And I don't know if Charlotte really knows or cares if he is. It just, I feel like they really just kind of skim past that, their jobs or whatever they do as a living, and they just get right to the connection. They go right to the core, which is so cool.
That was absolutely beautiful. I could not have said that better. My God. And you tied it all back into the movie too, and how they just go right into it. And I'm like, wow, that was amazing. So good job on that.
Thank you.
I was smiling the whole time, but you can't see it because it's just audio.
I know, I nod a lot. I nod a lot.
Yeah. I do too. All the time. Yeah. So I guess the last note I had was, what do you think? And we can compare and contrast a little bit. So the relationship Bob has with his wife, with Lydia, I think that's her name, or maybe it's Linda. I don't know.
Lydia.
Versus Charlotte and her husband John. Like, do you think there's any like correlation there? Because they're very different, but what do you think?
Yeah, it's like, so Bob and Lydia have been married 25 years. They have 2 kids, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
We don't even get to see Lydia. We just hear her voice on the phone, which I think was a unique choice, which I like. I mean, well, I like and don't like it, I guess, because we are obviously on Bob/Bill Murray's side, because we see him in Tokyo. He's rolling his eyes at what his wife is saying. Like, she's sending him carpet samples in the mail. I'm like, I could see my mom doing that. She would totally do that to my dad. She's like, which one do you like? They all look the fucking same, but I really like this one. But like, I love her for that, and God knows that I will turn out just like that too. So yeah, so I think the kids make a lot of difference in it. Like, I kind of wish I knew what Bob and Lydia's marriage was like before kids, or like when they first met. I wonder like how Lydia met him, you know, in the back when he was really famous. I wonder if they were really good for each other back then, or if they were never really good for each other and they just ended up together because it's Hollywood, and then they had kids and now they're just together, and that is what it is. Charlotte and what's the name?
John.
God, John. Pfft. Who names a character
Ted.
John?
Ted.
Ted.
Fuck you, Ted.
I'm gonna call him.
Just call him Frank Jr.
Yes, exactly. That's what I think of in my mind, actually. Frank Jr. Even Frank, that's not a very good name either. Francis, that's a cool name.
Frank Jr. is a good name.
Frank Jr.
How about Frank Jr. Jr.?
Okay, so this is Frank Jr. Jr.
Wouldn't that be Frank the Third? Don't get me started.
Oh yeah, you're right. If you're enjoying this podcast, you can subscribe, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, pretty much anywhere where you get your podcasts, and it really helps if you rate and review us so that we are more visible on those websites. and let us know how we're doing. So thank you. We appreciate your feedback and your listening. I also wanted to mention we are opening up our Gmail account for anyone to send us their problems they're having right now. And I think we're going to start having a section at the end of each podcast where we read some listener problems, and then we can prescribe some movies that might bring you some solace or try to help you as best we can as your therapists.
So the email is filmtherapypodcasts@gmail.com. Go there and send us an email. Even if all you want is ice cream at 3 a.m, we can't supply you with that, but we can listen to your problems, no matter how minuscule they are. And if they're bigger problems, then maybe you'll go want to see an actual therapist. But we're a good place to start when it comes to film-related problems. My voice just cracked during that. Shit.
Yeah, so email us your problems at filmtherapypodcast@gmail.com.
What, my quiet whisper wasn't good enough?
No, because I couldn't hear what you're saying.
Oh, that's what I said.
Oh, okay. Charlotte and John, Frank Jr. Theirs is different. The first scenes we see her talking, she's on the phone with her friend, I think, and she's just kind of complaining about her relationship, and her friend is totally not listening and is just like, okay, haha, have fun, nice. And Scarlett is really, like, she's on the verge of tears, pretty much crying about why she's there, why she married John, and just seems like they have nothing in common. But then she mentions later to Bill Murray that John thinks she's snotty, and obviously we don't see any part of her snottiness. So we just assume that John is a dick because he's calling her snotty for no reason. And he is some photographer, which I don't know. I don't really like the casting of him as this guy because he doesn't seem as like, well, I don't know. I guess that was on purpose, obviously, because Sophia. Yes. He doesn't seem as like greaseball-y as you would expect like a bad husband to be, you know, or like someone who, like a professional photographer traveling to Tokyo, really is like a workaholic. He seems more regular, which I guess is definitely more realistic, obviously. He's not a character. He's a real person. And this is how he is in his job and in his marriage. I mean, they have good moments, which is what makes it hard, obviously, because they love each other, but at the same time, they don't really like have fun together and do things that you would expect a couple who has only been married 2 years to be doing in a foreign country. You know, he's off working and she's just like, okay, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, there's even like some exchanges. There's the one when he's like, you know, it's really bad for you. Would you just stop smoking? And then she's like, oh, I like it. But I don't do it that much. I'll stop later.
Yeah. She's so cute.
I know, I love her so much. There were moments in the movie when in my head that was the only thought I was thinking, was like, man, she's just so beautiful and amazing, and I could just watch her walk around Tokyo for 5 hours.
Me too. And it's just crazy that she would, like, the casting is crazy in this movie. She is like one of my ultimate crushes, and then Bill Murray is like, I don't find him attractive at all, but until the end of the movie.
wait. Okay, I agree with you on everything until you said until the end of the movie. What did you mean?
After they kiss and he smiles back at her as he's like going back to his limo or taxi. He was so cute. I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, that was adorable. I'll give you that. But like,
but I don't know. It's just mostly the hair. I'm sorry, Bill. I'm sorry.
I mean, say what you will about Jesse being too forward and before sunrise, but he's got the hair, you know.
True. Oh my God. Word.
But yes, I love Scarlett Johansson as an actress in every movie she's in. But this would be my favorite performance of hers, just because it's so much in so little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's so good, and she had only been in a few movies before this.
What was she in? Let's see. She was in Home Alone 3. I know that. She was in what else? What else was she in?
I pulled her up on my IMDb here.
All right, let me do it too. Let's see.
She was in quite a few, but not anything. She was I think she starred in one in like the late 90s. Okay, so her first movie she was in was called North in 1994. Her character was Laura Nelson.
That's a nice name.
She was just 10 years old.
Hmm.
Then she was in Just Cause. Isn't that a game now? With Sean Connery, like... no other.
See, when I think of 007, I think of Sean Connery, but no.
Then she was in the movie called The Client in 1995.
That's a John Grisham movie. You know, like the guy who did The Firm and The Time to Kill. And yeah.
I
haven't read the book or seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of his I really want to watch. Some of his movies. I haven't read any of his books.
I watched The Firm recently. No, shit.
Yeah.
Was it The Firm?
Yeah, because The Firm is with Tom Cruise. It was on TV last night, so then I taped it because I want to watch it.
I watched the one with Julia Roberts and...
Oh, is it The Pelican Brief?
The Pelican Brief, yes.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
And what's his name?
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington, goddamn.
After that, Scarlett Jo was also in Home Alone 3, as we said.
Home Alone 3, 1997.
Which is also underrated.
Never seen it.
Childhood right there. I have a childhood story about Home Alone that we don't have to include, but I'll share it because I don't want to, because it's a tangent. So when I was so there's 5 Home Alone movies now.
Are you kidding?
I've seen all of them.
Oh my god.
But here's why. Here's what happened. So when I was a kid, you know, ABC Family, that one of the greatest channels ever because they have all the Christmas movies and stuff.
Oh yeah.
They had at the time all 4 Home Alone movies playing like at the same time. So they had like 1, 2, 3, 4. And me being a kid, I saw the first one in school and I'm like, oh, there's more movies. And I taped them all and I watched them all. And I think the second one I saw last because I had to find it on HBO one time because it wasn't on ABC Family. But 1, 3, and 4 were. So I saw them all at the same time. And I still think 3 is kind of an underrated movie, even though it's not that great. And then Home Alone 4 is complete fucking garbage, but it's also kind of nostalgic. It's really fucking bad. But I saw it as a kid, so it has that like nostalgia, even though it's really, really bad. But yeah. So like the third movie is like a different cast and different characters, but John Hughes still wrote it. But the fourth movie is they tried to do the characters from the first 2 movies with different actors, and it's fucking atrocious.
Oh god,
it's awful. But ScarJo's in the kind of underrated one.
Okay.
And then she was in a movie called The Horse Whisperer, which I've never seen, but I've heard of.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
I remember it like seeing it at a library when I was a kid, and my grandma was like, "Oh, I want to watch this," and I'm like, "I don't really want to."
Sorry, Grandma, not into it.
I just remember like seeing it like at her house, like the VHS cover or whatever. And then after this movie, she was in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
What?
Which is also a classic. Yeah. You didn't know that?
Oh, in 2004?
Yeah, 2004.
Oh my god.
Yeah. She's the mermaid that Patrick falls in love with. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, so okay, I feel like My Brother the Pig, she played a big role in because she's on the cover.
What the hell was My Brother the Pig?
1999. Don't know what it's about. Never watched it, but I feel like we should.
Okay, look it up.
I started watching Ghost World, actually. She is, like, starring in this with another girl. This is in 2001.
Oh, yeah.
She's in it with Thora Birch, which, they just are 2 angsty girls who are just complaining about everything, and they hate everyone, and I honestly couldn't get through it. Because it's on Prime, I think. Not my favorite, yeah. So then, that was 2001. Then she's in An American Rhapsody, which she plays this girl at Suzanne at 15, so probably not a big role. And Eight-Legged Freaks in 2002, and then finally Lost in Translation, 2003. So I think like she was in a few movies that she was a pretty big role in, and then Lost in Translation, she really shone for me. She shined. She shined like a star.
Shine on, you crazy diamond.
Like a diamond.
That's not what I was referencing at all, but okay.
Like a diamond.
On and on and on.
Oh no.
I can't believe they made a musical version of that.
Ugh,
Like,
so bad.
why?
So bad.
Well, wait a minute. Does the musical even have that song in it? Like,
No.
well, then why? Why? That's stupid.
Don't know.
Anyway, can you keep a secret?
Mm-hmm.
So can I. If anyone knows what movie that's from, bonus points. Maddie, you should know, but you might not.
I know, but I don't know.
Okay, it's Clue. It's Tim Curry.
Oh, obviously.
What else?
I feel like they
yeah.
say that in a lot of movies, though.
Can you keep a secret? Seriously though? Okay, I'm trying to organize a prison break. I'm looking for like an accomplice. We have to first get out of the bar, then the hotel, and then the city, and then the country. Are you in or are you out?
I'm in.
All right, I hope you've had enough to drink because it's going to take some courage. Drinking that vodka soda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
I just want to say fax machines. How about fax machines?
How about VCRs and square TVs? Those are the things I miss. Like legit, I cannot tell you how much I think about square TVs just on a regular basis, and the fact that this movie has a bunch of square TVs in them because it's circa 2003.
Mm-hmm.
My God, I miss square TVs.
Even in Japan, like a step ahead of the game, they had square TVs.
You know, as a huge fan of movies, especially as a film connoisseur, dare I say, I am entirely an advocate for presenting films in their original aspect ratio. You know, unedited, uncut. You know, not trying to edit it because of history or all that shit. You know, none of that. But I love square TVs and I love VCRs.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss TV being square. Now they're rectangles. Isn't there like that phrase like not every rectangle is a square, but every square is a rectangle?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it the other way around?
Every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square. Yes.
Exactly, because every square TV is a square TV, but not every rectangle is a square TV.
True. It's really funny. I feel like fax machines play a big part of this because there's a ton of faxes that are, and like they even say in the dialogue, like, I'll fax you when I'm free or something. It's like, what? I can't even comprehend what that is. Like, I was alive when they were around, obviously, but I've
Me too.
never used one as a form of communication. So it's kind of crazy to think that even in Tokyo, I just feel like Tokyo is so much more advanced than we are all the time, but they're just here in 2003, also using fax machines, and you can like draw on shit and send it and write little notes and have your wife annoy you from so many miles away, and it was
I
really
completely agree.
fun to watch.
No, I completely agree with that, and I'm of the same boat where I was alive when fax machines were a thing, but I never used them myself because I was really young. One of my friends in elementary, I think their home phone, like when I called their house, it went to the fax machine. So like their phone would just ring and ring until I hung up.
Oh gosh.
Like if nobody was there. They didn't have an answering machine, or it was a fax one, so it was weird because they lived out in the country. So. I completely forgot about it until now. So.
That's funny, isn't it?
It's funny how those things happen.
Yeah, I know. I even just talking about it makes me think back to like my childhood home of like calling my friends when I wanted to hang out.
Yeah.
You know.
And how you got kind of nervous because if their parents answered, you don't
or
know
their
what to
older
say.
sibling. That was my worst fear.
Yeah.
I did not want to talk to their older sibling because I knew they were gonna like make fun of me or something.
Yeah. I guess I was more self-conscious as a kid than I realized. Let's just go back to childhood, but let's somehow be friends.
Okay.
So like the friendship and connection we have now, we'll maintain it, but we'll Benjamin Button it, and we'll be like children.
Except I'd be like babysitting you.
God fucking damn it. Okay, then I'll be older. Then I'll be a bit older. I'll be early middle school-ish. My best friends in high school were older than me, so.
Yeah, me too. Until I was a senior, then they were all younger than me. I didn't really have any friends in my class really that well, but...
No, me neither.
It was just
sorry to anyone in our classes who happen to be listening to this. If we leave this in.
Right. Yeah,
it's
I
so
just
similar.
always,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I felt more drawn to other people in other classes. Maybe it's because I didn't literally have every single class with them and like from kindergarten, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Probably. That makes sense.
Yeah, as far as Lost in Translation goes, it's one of my favorite movies. It means so much to me. It's so introspective, and I think it might even mean more to you, just from the vibe I got from how excited you were to watch it.
No. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like they each represent freedom with each other. They're letting it go for the greater good of their own relationships. They could stay there forever, you know, obviously, but they don't, and they go back to their ways, and we hope that they can figure their shit out, but who knows if they do. And maybe they'll go on to meet other people just like this along the way, or maybe they'll connect again, but they never exchange information, so I don't know. It's kind of like before sunset, you know, it's like,
Yeah, you beat me to
or
it.
before sunrise. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
just give each other your email or your fax number. And then you can see
Yeah.
each other back in the States, you know. You both live in LA, and
But also like Charlotte said that she tried writing but she didn't like what she writes. Maybe she goes back and writes this movie as a story, becomes a published author, and then he meets her on the last leg of her book tour. Then they have a reconnection. So Sophia Coppola, make it happen, okay? Just make it happen, all right?
Well, yeah, also when she said that line, like, I tried to be a writer, but I don't like what I write. And I'm like, that means you're a writer.
Okay, good, because I feel that a lot too.
Right?
Like some things when I write, I'm like, oh, this is good. And then things when I write, I'm like, this is just a placeholder for later because it's not very good at all.
Yeah.
So,
Again, on the magic of Japan,
mhm.
it's like, even though everywhere they go, they have trouble communicating with people, it still seems so fun and so cool.
Mhm.
And I really want to go. That might be one of my next trips whenever we can travel again. I'm gonna
Yeah, I
go
want
to
to go too.
Scandinavia. Oh wait, yeah, I want to go to Scandinavia and Japan probably, or like Tokyo for sure. The other thing I was gonna say was like that scene you mentioned before when Charlotte was walking through the arcade,
Uh-huh.
visiting with all these young folk and playing games, like all the youths of the
Yeah.
day, and then
Mhm.
Bill Murray is swimming in the pool with all these geriatrics. I kind of like that juxtaposition.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, yeah, these two aren't meant to be together, but somehow they really connect, and I really like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So,
I was gonna ask you if you've watched anything before
oh,
this.
yeah, I had an answer, and I gotta remember. I got to remember what it is. Shit, I did. I did watch something, and I'm like, I remember. I'm going to say that I watched this, and now I can't. Oh, I remember. So it's not on. So I have a free month of Hulu because Hulu's like, hey, you want a free month without ads, and I'm like, hell yes, of course I do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why would I not say no? Um, why would I say no? So the last couple of nights, I'm not joking with you. I have been unable to sleep. Like I go to bed and then I can't fall asleep. So the last couple of nights, I've been up late watching Rugrats on Hulu, and it's great. It's great.
I didn't know Rugrats was on Hulu.
I didn't know either, but apparently it is. Like
Oh
it popped up in my
no.
recommended. Like, hey, you want to watch Rugrats? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I
Oh,
do.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Well, what do you? Well, why don't we just go watch it? We could do an episode on that.
Live recording of Rugrats, our commentary on Rugrats.
Yes.
Patreon. Sign up for our Patreon.
Yeah, sign up for a Patreon. That's what you get. If we actually make a Patreon, that's what we should make it. Is that?
Definitely.
And we could do the Rugrats movies on here sometime because there's a whole
Mhm.
trilogy.
I would love that.
Dude, okay, I'll add it to our list, like because of legit. Like those movies
Oh
are
my
so
gosh.
emotional. My God, they're
Wait,
so like.
is the Thornberries the wild or the Rugrats Go Wild? Is that part of it?
Yeah, that's the third movie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bro, it's like Cheetah. Like you always know that you always have seen the third movie.
See, no, I loved Eliza because she fucking talked to animals, and that's my shit.
Yeah, I love Eliza too. She's great.
So you've been watching Rugrats.
Yeah, just like random episodes. Like last night I watched one. Dee Dee's like, okay, I'm gonna go run errands, and you and Tommy and Chucky, I'm taking you with me. And then they go to the bank, and then they're like, oh, then she's like, I'm gonna go to the ATM machine, and Tommy's like, did you hear that, Chucky? It's the M&M machine. So then they go and like wreak havoc on the bank, and it's the funniest thing. It's
Oh
so adorable.
man. Oh
It's so
god.
cute. I love it so much. It's
It's
so
kind
precious.
of crazy that this was a kids show. You feel like it was, I mean, I feel like it would resonate a lot more with adults because
Yes.
we remember being kids now and we're like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, we thought this as kids, but then it's a kids show and it's like, oh, I guess we thought this as babies, but we don't really remember being babies, so I don't know, but this is funny.
I remember watching it as a kid, but I don't remember like specifically watching certain episodes.
Yeah,
Like when I was really little.
me
But
either.
yeah, like I'm just thinking like now what I want to do is just like get some Rugrats VHS tapes, go to my Square TV, and just like. But I don't think I have any. I might have one, but like as far as that's one of the movies. As far as episodes go, I want to track down like some of the old VHS tapes. That's because that's what I do.
That's what you do.
That's what I do.
So that's what you've been watching lately.
That's what I've been watching lately is Rugrats reruns.
Very good.
What have you been watching? Top that.
Today, I started the Spencer Confidential yesterday and I finished it today, which is
What is
a
that?
Netflix original. It came out a few months ago and people
Mm-hmm.
watched it right when it came out, but I
Mm-hmm.
have slowly come around to it. You may have seen it on Netflix. It's got like a picture of Post Malone or Mark
Post.
Wahlberg. Post. It's pretty good. Actually, it's really good. I really liked it. It seemed more like a John Grisham like detective
Hmm.
rogue cop movie, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark Wahlberg is an ex-cop who has spent some time in jail, but now he's taking matters into his own hands about corrupt cops in Boston. So it was like funny and action-packed and entertaining.
Awesome.
I also watched oh, Sleepy Hollow on Netflix.
Oh, I want to see that. I've never seen it.
I think you'll like it. It's really good.
Yeah.
I was surprised I hadn't ever seen it either. Yeah, it was good. It was like fairy tale like. It follows the story of the headless horseman and Ichabod Crane,
Mm-hmm.
but it was really realistic too. Johnny Depp is really great. Christina Ricci, I think is her name,
Yes, that's her name.
is in that also. She's super cute. There's like a lot of witchcraft aspects in it, which I liked. It just takes the fairy tale to a next level. Although I don't know if the Headless Horseman tale, Sleepy Hollow tale, is a fairy tale. Where does it come from? Do you know?
Well, it's a Disney movie, so it's probably from a fairy tale of some kind.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I can't believe I've never seen it. It came
Yeah.
out a while ago and it's right up my alley. So I finally watched it. It was good. I recommend it. It was pretty dark.
Sounds
Then
awesome.
I also started binging the show You on Netflix, which I am late to the party on this one. That's what I'll
Welcome to
say.
the party, pal.
They are on season 3 and I just started season 1 and for some reason I had never started watching it, although
Mm-hmm.
it is also something that I totally like and is right up my alley too. It's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
dark show, dark romance type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very entertaining. I binged like 5 episodes yesterday, so
Dang.
I'm
That's
into
awesome.
it. Into
I love that you're
it.
into it.
Into it. Yes. That's
Into
what
the
I've been
thick
up
of it.
to.
I've
Mhm.
definitely heard of it. I do want to check it out. I just haven't yet.
It's good. It's more than just like a creepy stalker guy, you know? It's really real.
So it's better than 50 Shades Grey of Grey.
I've never seen that, but I assumed
I
it
just
would be.
yeah.
We should
I just
watch
said 50
that.
Shades of Grey. No, we're not watching that. We can watch Twilight, but we're not fucking watching 50 Shades
Oh,
of Grey.
have you seen or have you started reading Midnight Sun?
What the fuck is mid? Oh wait. Did that actually get published?
Bitch, yes, it's out.
Wait. Hang on. I gotta look this up.
It's out.
I never knew. I last I heard it was like she wasn't gonna publish it.
It's
When did that come?
out now.
Oh, August 4th. Yeah, damn. Because that was like 2008. Because it got leaked or something.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so
read
it got
I think.
released. As far as the movies go, I have New Moon. But they're all on Prime now, so we could do a marathon of that.
Oh my god, yes.
Dude, they're all on Prime. We should totally do it.
Let's do it.
I'm writing it down. I'm adding it to the
so
list.
down. I'm glad you have a list. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I should let you know the movies that I'm thinking of so you can put them in your list.
So the prescription for next week will be the 1984 cinematic classic known as Supergirl, starring Helen Slater.
Yes.
You can find it on Amazon Prime.
Is it free?
No, I'm sorry, it's not free. It's on Amazon Video. My mistake. If you have HBO Max, it is free on there, or probably HBO Go. I don't know about HBO Go, but I saw it on HBO Max.
Okay.
Like many movies, there's multiple cuts out there, and the one that we're gonna watch is I think it's around 2 hours. I think it's like 2 hours and 4 minutes. So
Okay.
The international cut. That's the one that I've seen.
International cut. Okay.
Yeah, that's like the most common cut of the movie.
Okay.
It's like Legend, where there's like, except not like Legend, because that's like actual different movies.
Yeah.
Legend is more like Superman 2, where both cuts are completely different movies. This is not like that. I think it's just like a longer cut and maybe a shorter one. I don't know. But anyway, who gives a fuck? We're watching the 124-minute international cut of Supergirl, because that's the only version I've ever seen, and it's nostalgic as fuck. So be there, or I don't want to say be square, because that's stupid. Be there or not. Come into the 80s land of magical weirdness, because that's what this movie is, and it's beautiful.
80s land of magical weirdness. I have been down that road, I feel like, with Legend, but I'm ready to experience it again.
Legend, I think we'll do an episode on Legend, or at least mention it a bit, because and just for fuck's sake, we'll watch the Tangerine Dream version, because that just sounds more therapeutic. Even though it's not as good as the director's cut, like, by a wide margin. You may disagree on that, but that's my opinion.
I don't know.
I think it depends, because if you see the longer version first and then you see the shorter one, you're like, oh, they cut all this shit out. But since you saw, like, the shorter version first, when you see the longer one, you're more like, oh, that's interesting that they added this in. Like you ever think about that?
I honestly don't really remember.
Then we'll watch the worst version. Although the score by Tangerine Dream is 10 out of 10. It's perfect. I listen to it all the time. Anyway, awesome. I didn't mean to delve into the tangent of Legend, but you brought it up, so.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not blaming you, but I'm saying if you're like, okay, Jake, that's enough. I'm like, well, that's on you. Anyway, so Supergirl is what we're gonna watch. I'm really excited.
Please join us.
Please join us in the land that's a little bit magical and a little bit mystical.
Ooh, yes. So until next week, we will see you then. Please go home and watch Supergirl. And we still don't have an outro.
Fucking Ted, man.
God, Ted.
For those who don't know who Ted is, go back to episode 1 where we talk about the Lucy trilogy. The greatest movie trilogy ever made. Lucy is the queen. We'll end with that. God save the queen. Who is Lucy?
Yes, God save the queen. Lucy Deakins. Amen.
Amen.